We have a Honda Odyssey transmission, Jeff Doyle, BYBA. This transmission was brought in, had some slippage conditions present, and was malfunctioning. We can see what happens in these Hondas. Basically, they start to shed all the clutch material off of it, and when that clutch material starts to shed, we can actually see some metal in there as well. It starts to obstruct the filter and then causes subsequent damage to the clutch components, neutraling conditions, etc. You look at the filter. Filter has a very, very small pickup area, and it's unserviceable. As a result, it winds up damaging things. A couple other items that we see here. This is the low gear. Okay, this low gear, whether this is coming up on the video, but you can see that there's a ridge right here where it's worn. Okay, what happens is that same material that was in the bottom of the transmission gets between the sprag and this low gear, and it causes it to wear out. This is the sprag assembly itself. That sprag assembly is going to be replaced in addition to the low gear, in addition to the clutch components. The clutch components we're installing are going to be made by a different manufacturer, actually have a higher friction coefficient, slightly different design, and actually it's a better clutch design, and it doesn't have the tendency of shedding the material the way that the original clutch does. In addition, one of the problematic areas in these transmissions is a torque converter lockup application process. So we do some modifications, specifically converter charge regulated pressure valve. This unit's made by Sonnax. Also do some modifications to the valve body and put an end plug kit, an O-ringed end plug kit. And what that does is that prevents some of the hydraulic leakages that can happen on the end valves here. These plugs, they all get replaced. That way the valve inside of the bore has sound hydraulic integrity. You can see a couple here as well. So once you go through, do the updates, do the changes to these, also put the updated frictions, replace the sprag and low gear, you have a transmission that's going to be very reliable and more trouble-free than the original. Due to the amount of material, probably going to put a cooler on this. Couple things with the cooler. You reduce the risk of having cross-contamination, meaning transmission fluid going into the coolant or coolant going into the transmission, because when coolant gets into the transmission, it basically destroys the transmission. Also will make the transmission run cooler. So all in all, based on what we see here, don't have a whole lot of hard parts, but we do have some items that are worn out. Still going to be able to save quite a bit of money compared to a remanufactured transmission.